Hello there. What is going on, everyone? We're talking Star Wars Legion today, and we're going to be talking about Gar Saxon from the Shadow Collective. He had been fully previewed, and I was out at Star Wars Celebration, and I think I've had a lot of people ask me, hey, are you going to talk about Gar Saxon? Did you already talk about Gar Saxon? We also had some AA5 speeder truck pilots and other things from Shadow Collective that kind of came out over the past weekend while I was out of town. I did not cover this stuff yet. We're going to talk about it today. Also going to talk a little bit about some cool new promos that came out for Star Wars Legion at Ministravaganza, like the new Darth Maul, alternate art, very cool stuff. We're giving those away at Ministravaganza, which is coming up soon too, so very cool stuff. Speaking of the Shadow Collective, I am still giving away a Shadow Collective starter set in the form of a $70 Amazon gift card. So if you're interested in having a chance to win that, all you have to do is be a subscriber and leave a comment on this or one of my videos. It's as simple as that. That giveaway is going to be going all along until the Shadow Collective come out, and then I'll be announcing the winner at generally at the end of my videos is when I announce giveaway winners. So make sure you watch all the way to the end. And also, a big thanks to today's sponsor, Luxury Playstyle. Amazing full metal tokens. They come in a variety of finishes. Definitely check out luxuryplaystyle.com. Get yourself some awesome tokens. They're going to make you want to play your games more. They have them for X-Wing as well as games like Arkham Horror and L5R and Keyforge, and as well as Star Wars Legion. Use code Crabbok VIP. You're going to save 15%. And for orders $35 or more, you can also get a free lightsaber nunchuck token thrown in there. So it's another pretty cool bonus. All right, so let's talk about Gar Saxon. He is that maybe the only person that can rival Callus for the smolder factor in the CGI the CGI world of Star Wars. He's seen in Star Wars Rebels, and then also then in fighting with the Empire. But then we kind of get that look in Clone Wars Season 7 of Gar Saxon working for Maul, and it was kind of cool. Now, I had long speculated that from the first time that we heard Gar Saxon's name that he might also be usable in the Empire. However, it does not appear to be the case, at least at this time. However, anything is possible. We've already seen changes to bounty hunter cards and updates in errata and things like that. Just because he's only for Shadow Collective right now doesn't mean they couldn't ever expand upon that. So if you're really hoping for a Gar Saxon and Mandalorian Super Commando Imperial presence, well, I hope you're patient, because that's not coming in anytime soon. These guys are strictly for the Shadow Collective. However, who knows what the future holds, right? We can always hold out hope for more Mandos, especially for the Empire that doesn't have that many. It'd be pretty cool. Although the Empire does have a lot of red saves, so it's less crazy good. But still a very good unit. And Gar Saxon looks pretty awesome with Mandalorians. He is restricted to Shadow Collective. Of course, he does have the two gray symbols that we have come to associate with being not able to go in any of the four factions, as that's kind of how it seems. Again, once we get the full rule spoilers for this, we'll have more clarification, especially on how good Allies of Convenience actually is, because I think one thing that's very cool about Allies of Convenience is it says you may include an additional mercenary unit of any rank. So if the Shadow Collective has a standard list building kind of like if they can take 3 special forces, well, then I have to assume that Allies of Convenience would allow you, in theory, to take a 4th special forces if you wanted to take an additional mercenary unit of any rank. Now, that would only work in Shadow Collective, since Mandalorian Super Commandos can't go in other places, and they're the only mercenaries that happen to also be Mandos that can do that sort of thing, so. Although, if Gar Saxon himself, no, he doesn't say Empire. Yeah, he doesn't say Empire, so I don't see him doing it either. Anyway, it's just Allies of Convenience is going to be a pretty cool way to kind of build your Shadow Collective out a little bit more. Like if you want to be core heavy, you could do that. If you want to be special forces heavy, you could do that. And in theory, as new like operatives and commanders and stuff come out, if there eventually are additional operatives or additional commanders for Shadow Collective, you could run maybe triple commander at some point. Who knows? It'd be weird, wouldn't it? So he's 105 points. He does have 2 training. He has comms. He has 2 equipment and 2 weapon upgrades as well, which is very cool. So very, very full and thick upgrade bar on the left side. He does have jump 2, which is a fantastic jetpack option to have, just be able to jump over that terrain and get into position. He is speed 3, so jump 2 plus speed 3 equals lots and lots of mobility. He's got compel, which is just a fantastic ability, especially when you are going to have people that may have some suppression and you don't want them to lose actions, especially for Mandalorians who are going to want to move anyway, because boom, it's a speed 3 move. Compel is going to be really good with Mandalorians. He does have Impervious, which you come to expect with Red Save and Defensive Surge. That means Mandos like Gar Saxon kind of all have this in common, but it's makes them very hard to kill. Now, he does have a courage value of only 2, so he is going to have to, you don't want him to get shot too much. He can take a whole lot of shots, and he has a very good chance of saving throughout all of it, but he's still going to be taking that suppression each time, so that's going to be one potential weakness for Mandalorian units. But he does have Sharpshooter, and while he has a decent melee attack at 2 red, and then a decent range 2 attack with those pistols at range 2 with Pierce 1, a red 2 black and white with Surge to crit. He's got a very nice range 2 attack. He also has a lot of different weapon upgrades. So pretty cool looking commander so far. Very strong, very similar to other Mandalorians, but with the 5 health. So this way, even if you're unlucky, you're not going to lose him right away. Usually, even on a strong shot, you're probably not going to take 5 wounds in one attack. You might get 1 through at a time, but that's why you're going to need medics too. I think those Mandos really want, like an AA5 with medics on board if possible. So Gar Saxon actually has 3 different weapons. So this is this gives you some really cool choices, considering that he has 2 weapon slots and he has 3 weapons available. So there's going to be a lot of build options for Gar Saxon. The first, I'll go from left to right here. The first is probably the one that I think will be taken the most with Gar Saxon, and that's going to be his sniper rifle, his Saxon's Galar 90 rifle. It is a range 1 to 4 weapon, so long range there, red, black, and white. It does have high velocity, so it's good for making sure that Jedi can't deflect it, and then of course people can't dodge this one. It also has lethal 1 and long shot, so 2 different abilities that you can spend aims to increase this, give it Pierce 1 or make it a range 5, which is going to be a really interesting one because that gives him really good sniper potential, especially in a faction that is so very dependent on being range 2 or closer. He makes, he'll be a very welcome sniper. I think Gar Saxon will end up being in almost all Mandalore or Shadow Collective lists. I think he's going to be extremely popular because from what we've seen, he's the only long range option currently available, right? I suppose when we get the org chart and the Shadow Collective Battle Force information, I'm assuming that Bosk and certain other bounty hunters may be able to go in there too. So if Bosk can go into the Shadow Collective, then maybe Gar Saxon will be less crucial. But we'll have to wait and see. But as it stands right now, Gar Saxon is going to be that that critical sniper component in a faction that's largely based on range 2 or less. So that's pretty cool. And the 3-die sniper shot is not bad. You're gonna be able to get he's got things that are going to give him aims, so he's going to be able to make sure that he can do Pierce. He can do range 5 if he needs to also. So I think that makes him flexible. And also, if he's that far away, you definitely don't have to worry about that lower courage value that he's bringing to the table because you'll probably get shot much, much less. Next, in the middle, we do have the jetpack rockets, which are pretty cool because unlike lots of other jetpack rockets that we've seen in this game, this is not an expendable item. This is actually a cyclable item, so it means you can fire his jetpack rockets every other turn, which is really cool. Now, this is a mid-range option, so it's not range 4 like other jetpack rockets are. This is range 2 to 3, so you got to be a little closer. But it has blast and impact 1 and cycle. Now, impact 2 and cycle. So impact 2 is pretty good with 3 dice. I mean, that's going to be a mediocre vehicle shot. So respectable but not overpowered vehicle shot. But it also has blast, which makes this one actually exceptionally good for going after troops behind barricades and troops in cover as well. So I like the versatility of it, and then the fact that you can continue to fire it without having to do a recover action, because Gar Saxon probably doesn't want to have to waste an action doing recover, especially with that jump 2 speed 3 and his weaponry. He wants to probably move and shoot a lot, or move and potentially get into objective action range to maybe take cap of moisture evaporator or something like that. So this is nice. It's nice giving him that option. And then if he does happen to get up close, which again with speed 3 and jump 2 you can get up very, very close. He's got a massively strong flame projector here with melee or range 1, black and white with spray. Again, spray, you basically multiply the attack pool per defending per each mini, right? So yeah, it's like, so basically you go up to like some B1s and you're like, oh, there's 8 of you in this, okay, boom, 16 dice. Considering they're black and white dice, but you do have surge to crit on this dude, so it's really, really nice. And it's suppressive, and it has blast. Well, usually flame projectors, basically flamethrowers tend to have blast, but that's a nice, and it's only 5 points for that flame projector too, whereas the jetpack is 10, and then the sniper rifle's 15. This one could be really interesting. I feel like a lot of people will probably go with like sniper rifle and jetpack rockets, or jetpack rockets and flame projector. I don't know if there'll be too many people going with sniper rifle and flame projector, because I think you want to be like close or medium, and then this one's like, I don't know. I can see a lot of different options for them. I want to hear from you guys. What are your 2 if you're going to go do 2, or you don't even have to do 2. Right? You can opt to just do 1. I think there'll probably be a lot of people just running the sniper rifle. Matter of fact, I think that's going to be a pretty popular option, just to kind of save you some points, because if you're running him and Mandos, well, Mandos are expensive. They really are. And then we got some command cards for Gar Saxon, and these are very interesting. They are first off, there's the 2-pip gives out 3 orders, which is extremely rare, right? Like that's I think that's the first 2-pip I've ever seen that gives out more than 2 orders natively. So that's really cool. But also you have a common thread on the 3 and the 2-pip, and that they give friendly special forces units outmaneuver, and not even ones that you've given them a token to. So basically a big part of this is making sure that your Mandos are staying alive and can take great advantage of their dodge tokens. So let's start with Victory or Death, the 3-pip. It's Gar Saxon plus 2 troopers. When Gar Saxon issues an order to a unit, that unit gains an aim token. And Gar Saxon and each friendly special forces unit gain outmaneuver. So that one, like the outmaneuvers, not really helping you as much because they're getting an aim token. But this one is an interesting one because you can potentially not, like the Mandos are going to be different, right? Your Mandalorian Super Commandos specifically are going to behave differently whether they are issued an order or not. So you can have them get an aim or a dodge depending on whether or not you issue them an order. And so, depending on how you want this to play, they can potentially get that dodge token from outmaneuver, or you could have them kind of focus on aims. You could even you don't even have to give you could give the 2 orders to 2 core units. All right, you don't even have to, or if you have Darth Maul in there, or an AA5 in there, you could give it, well, an AA5 it says it has to be troopers, so you wouldn't be able to give the AA5 an order, but you could give it to another operative, another bounty hunter, or Maul, or another commander, things like that. You could totally do that and just let your independent keywords kick off on their own, because either way, your special forces dudes are all gonna get outmaneuver. So that's pretty cool. We move over to Fight Another Day. You also have that same thing. Your special forces are going to gain outmaneuver, and so does Gar Saxon too. By the way, he gains it as well. But this one works really well. So this is a very good 2-pip, although it does have a limitation. So when Gar Saxon issues an order to a unit, the unit gains a dodge token, and then him and all of the special forces gain outmaneuver. Now, even if you have more than 2 special forces, they're all gaining outmaneuver. So if you wanted to, like, this is good for maybe like last turn when you've got some special forces that are out there. Maybe they grabbed an objective and they're trying to get away with it, or they're trying to stay alive on the last turn of shooting, so you don't drop an objective or something to that effect. having outmaneuver available and getting a free dodge token is great. Or if you just need to move and dodge or something like that, or something, it's nice to be able to do that, especially when there are like snipers out there that are going to try and take down your. And I think that's the thing that's really important too, is those snipers that have like Pierce 1 and and they roll a crit, and now all of a sudden you can still cancel that and don't have to worry as much about the Pierce getting through. Granted, if you're Mandalorians, you're gonna have Beskar armor, so you're gonna have impervious, but still, I'd rather not have to rely on the dice, and I'd rather just spend the dodge and have it taken care of immediately. But Fight Another Day also starts off with the disclaimer that Gar Saxon cannot issue orders beyond range 1. So Fight Another Day is going to work really good if you've got the flamethrower option going on with Gar Saxon, and if you plan on getting up close and personal, I think that'd be a really fun one to run. Again, you're looking at some big differences in like play styles for him, depending on which weapons you give him and which command cards you use. Sometimes you may want to run all three, but you may not always. I always like to bring at least one generic command card in there in case I do lose. Like if I have multiple operatives or commanders, I always like to bring at least one generic a lot of times, because sometimes you lose both, or sometimes you want that flexibility of having like push or assault or something like that available. But his 1 pip is really good for him doing the killing. This is maybe really good for sniper mode Maul, or at least medium range mode Maul. This is marked for elimination. Gar Saxon gains 2 aim tokens. Choose an enemy commander or operative. That unit gains 4 observation tokens and 2 suppression tokens. So this can do a whole lot of different things. At first glance, this is going to look like, hey, he's going to kill somebody this turn. He is going to kill someone this turn. He already has Surge to crit, so now he can reroll over and over and over again until he gets all crits. Right, and that's kind of what you want to do. That's a kind of a similar strategy that Bosk always does. But another thing is, he can split fire with this. Because he might not be shooting at a commander or an operative, and maybe it's your Mandos that are going to do it. Maybe he's going to spend his aim tokens on somebody else, so you can actually have maybe 2 targets marked for elimination. And I think that that's pretty cool. I think that is pretty cool to kind of do it that way and kind of split up your really good ways of shooting, because he can spend 2 aim tokens. He might not even need both of them. He's got a good surge pool. You could and again, if you're using the sniper rifle, you can then spend those those aim tokens for Pierce and for an extra range and things like that. So you can always take an aim action as well. But with this card you don't have to. So this would be a really fun one to do with the flamethrower, also to kind of like to jump in and then shoot. You were far away and all of a sudden you did a jump 2 speed 3 over a mountain right on top of like a whole bunch of stormtroopers and just watch that armor melt, and you've got 2 aim tokens already to be able to mess with it. However, this has another really cool alternative potential for this 1 pip card, and that is if you're running bounty hunters. Now, we don't know exactly which bounty hunters are going to be able to go into Shadow Collective, if any. And if they can't take bounty hunters, then I feel like that would be kind of a bummer. But if they can, if the Shadow Collective has access to bounty hunters, then marked for elimination, giving somebody 4 observation tokens and 2 suppression tokens means that like now. Like look at Boba Fett is going after somebody. Sometimes Boba Fett would struggle to actually get that killing blow in. But if somebody's got 4 observation tokens, Boba can get 4 rerolls. That's pretty awesome. Because now Boba doesn't need to make an aim either. Or Cad Bane or Bosk or even future bounty hunters. Who knows? I think it'd be really fun if Sabine could go in here, and if they made like a new version of Sabine that like kind of decided to side up with some of her old like historical. I think there's probably different folks that'll go in there before Sabine did, but I'm just thinking about it because she's not a bounty hunter in the Rebels, but it'd be kind of cool. I guess maybe I'm just hoping for that full Mandalorian faction at some point, which sounds like it'll be really fun. It might be kind of hard to figure out exactly how it all works and if it how to balance all of it, but the more Mandos I see, the more I want to kind of just get it. And this may be the closest we get with Shadow Collective and Allies of Convenience. It might be. I want to also talk about some AA5 cards that are coming in the upgrade card pack too. We didn't talk about these guys as much. We know that the AA5 is going to be also getting a new version. It does have the two gray symbols on there, so it's not this new version isn't going to be going in just any old faction, but presumably it will be kind of the medic for Shadow Collective, since none of those core units seem to have a medic yet. And Maul, the new Maul has a card that can heal him, but we don't have that for anything else. Now the cool thing is, I say AA5. Now these aren't necessarily AA5 specific. So this is we've got the new symbol that we've seen on certain things, like the new AA5. It's kind of like just like a scum and villainy sort of thing symbol. But also a heavy only, and then again the scum and villainy kind of thing. So you can't take frenzied gunner in an ATST for the Imperials, for example, or in a snow speeder. But he says, while performing a ranged attack during the form attack pool step, you may roll 1 red defense die. On a blank result, add a white die. On a block result, add a black die, and on a surge result, add a red die. So basically, he gives you an extra die on anytime you're performing a ranged attack, which is kind of cool. I like that, and it's unclear which one you're gonna get. You pretty good chance you get a black die. I say you probably average out to getting a black die, but there's a chance of getting an extra red die in there. So and that's every time you perform a ranged attack, right? So this isn't an exhaust card, and it's only 5 points. But it does take up your pilot, so you only have the 1 pilot on most of these things. So it'd be kind of cool if you got like 3 pilots on, like maybe if they did an AT-AT or an AT-AT, that'd be fun. But the cool thing is that also that this is heavy only. But it's not restricted to any specific heavy. Now, granted, we only know of 1 heavy that's going to even be in this new Jabba faction, right? And that looks like the AA5. But if they ever did for example, like this dude reminds me of the Raiders that we saw in Mandalorian season 1, episode 4. With the big Raider ATST. If we ever get something like that, then these guys in theory could do that. If we ever get like a Raider or like a skiff, like a Jabba sail barge, kind of those skiffs, that would presumably be a heavy as well. So these are, there's definitely open potential for these guys, these pilots, to go into other things as well. Of course, again, they could always be errated also. But the raiding party leader gives you field commander and allies of convenience, and each friendly scum vehicle gains demoralize 1. And so this one's really interesting. First off, it gives you a field commander option. So if you don't want to run Gar Saxon or Maul or something, and you're going to focus maybe on vehicles, this could be a fun one. So I think it's cool that, and again, presumably, both of these will be legal options for the Shadow Collective. I think that's kind of their purpose, but we'll see. But it gives you allies of convenience and field commander. Now, I'm really curious if allies of convenience is a stackable keyword. Like, if you have 2 instances of allies of convenience in your build, does that mean you get to add 2 extra? So, is it theoretically possible for me to have more than 3, like 4 or 5 or even 6 special forces in a list, provided there's enough instances of allies of convenience in the list? That's something I think we're going to have to wait for the FAQ to see. But that's an interesting question, Field commander is good here. And now each friendly scum vehicle, I'm assuming that symbol's scum, right? Well, we did see some of those swoop bikes that were displayed last Ministravaganza. I wonder if those are going to be next up on the preview wave. And because then this guy will become a lot better. As of right now, he only seems like that demoralize 1 thing is going to work really well if you're running multiple AA5s. So we'll have to wait and see what new vehicles or what our total vehicle selection is going to be like for the Shadow Collective. Going to be pretty interesting. All right, guys, that is Gar Saxon and the AA5 pilots that we've seen. Now, we're going to get more information soon. Battle Forces should be dropping very, very soon. Maybe, maybe within a week or 2. We've got Ministravaganza coming up, so that's going to be very, very fun. If you guys are going to be watching Ministravaganza, I'm going to be doing the watch party, so you can tune in here, and we'll be doing live streams. We're going to be, kind of talking about what we expect to see. We'll be, of course, I'll cut off the mic when they start, and of course you can watch over on Twitch on Atomic Mass Games channel. You can stay, you can keep my stream open too, because I'll be watching, and then, of course, once it's over, we'll be talking about that too. And there's going to be lots of different panels. I'll be talking. I'll probably do a Ministravaganza pre-show, like next week, to talk about what we're going to expect to see, which panels I'll be covering when I'll be streaming, because I'm probably not going to cover 100% of their streams. But I'll also be doing giveaways, like this new Maul preview. This is actually from the next OP kit. They had these out at Star Wars Celebration. And so I'll have these. Also have unnatural resources. Maybe some viewers, if you tune into live streams, maybe somebody will walk away with an unnatural resources playset, so you guys can run some unnatural resources at home. So there's lots of cool things like that, and who knows what other promos and giveaways we'll have. Maybe we'll have some X-Wing and Armada stuff as well. So I like to do stuff like that. I'll do giveaways in Discord, as well as, of course, the Amazon gift card giveaway is going on too. So, okay, long video. Had a lot of stuff I wanted to get caught up on. Thanks for bearing with me, and I will talk to you guys later. Big thanks to my patrons. You guys are amazing and help make this channel possible, so thank you for your continued support. I will talk to you all soon. May the Force be with you. Live long and prosper. Always wash your socks, and don't forget to box a kangaroo only if the kangaroo is has its hands tied behind its back. Then you might win. Kangaroos are quite good boxers, from what I hear.